First, let me warn you that there will obviously be major spoilers ahead for Aftermath Empire's End, so if you haven't read it yet and plan to and don't want the story ruined, now's a good time to click away. If you don't plan on reading it and want to know what you missed, this might be the video for you. Now, with that warning out of the way, the first of many topics I'd like to discuss from Aftermath Empire's End is, what is the master plan that Palpatine put into motion after his death, and does it lead us to Snoke? First of all, in the book we learn that Palpatine had been hearing what he described as a signal emanating from way out in the unknown regions of the galaxy. This call, if you will, could only be heard by him, not even Vader could hear it. Palpatine believed that whatever was beckoning to him was somehow the origin of the Force or some type of dark side presence formed of a malevolent substance. He even believes it's where his destiny lies. Apparently, though, Palpatine is not the first Sith to ever hear this call, because buried on Jakku was an ancient computer that was part of what was called an observatory, one of many such observatories spread throughout the galaxy. We learn that some of these observatories housed powerful Sith artifacts, others designs to powerful weapons, or the weapons themselves, and others are prisons meant to harness the life force of those captured within for a variety of strange purposes, though we're not told what any of those purposes were. The one on Jakku, however, is significant because, as I mentioned, it houses some type of ancient computer that has been used by Sith for who knows how long to try to chart a course through the unknown regions to something, whatever it is out there that Palpatine feels, which my initial guess would be either Snoke or something to do with him. We learn that Palpatine has continued this task started by Sith before him and has been sending out probes that tested the computations made by the computer, and every time one made it a little further, it reported back and added to the map so that the next one could make it a little further and so on. We also learn that, thanks in large part to Grand Admiral Thrawn, who came from beyond the borders of the known galaxy, which is why Palpatine kept him around in the first place, that the map was seemingly completed sometime before he died at the Battle of Endor, though it isn't touched on why he didn't seem to go there himself at any point. Instead, as I mentioned, Palpatine had a contingency plan, which was to be carried out by Gallius Rex, who was a boy Palpatine discovered on Jakku shortly before the Clone Wars began and when he started excavation of the observatory there. This boy Gallius was initially tasked with guarding the site from all others, which he did by killing any who approached. We even learned that he recruited other children to help him do this, and then killed those children when the task was finally completed, after roughly 10 years. As reward, Palpatine basically gave Rax a grand purpose, which would be to carry out the contingency should anything ever happen to him. So what was this plan of Palpatine's exactly? Well, it essentially stated that if he were to ever die, it meant that the Empire itself had failed him and needed to be destroyed and something better needed to rise in its place. This was going to be done by using the planet Jakku as basically a weapon to destroy both the Empire and Rebellion, or New Republic. How's that even possible? Well, Jakku was once a verdant world full of life, and though we don't learn what happened to it to make it a desert, we learn that there was a spark of life that still existed at the planet's core, and that it even disgusted Palpatine. At the observatory, Palpatine had a hole drilled down to the core where this powerful life force was, and once the remainder of the Empire's fleet had massed there, which lured the New Republic's fleet, Gallius Rax was to trick Tashu, who was once one of the Emperor's most trusted advisors and a follower of the dark side, though not Force-sensitive himself, into wearing an ancient Sith mask, and we learn earlier in the book that Sith masks apparently hold a great deal of residual dark side power. He also carried an ancient banner and a spear along with a Sith holocron to the edge of this hole, believing he was going to attempt to contact Palpatine from out of the darkness. Instead, Rax pushes Yub into the pit, and when the power of these dark side artifacts comes into contact with the life force, it begins a chain reaction intended to blow up the planet and both fleets in orbit. However, of course, our heroes manage to close up the hole and stop the destruction from happening. Rax then plans to follow the course charted by this ancient Sith computer to the source of the dark side power, where already awaiting him is a superstar destroyer and other Imperials handpicked by Palpatine as loyal. Joining him on this journey will be Brandel Hux and his son Armitage, who will grow up to be the Hux we see in The Force Awakens. Brandel Hux has started a new program for training stormtroopers, which basically, if you've seen The Force Awakens, you know, takes children from birth and brainwashes them to be perfect soldiers. However, before Rax can get to the ship, he is stopped and killed by Rey Sloane, a former Grand Admiral of the Empire that Rax had previously betrayed. As Rax is dying, he tells Sloane about his plan and begs her to go and take his place to help create the new Empire, which she does. Now, not to get too deep into any theories just yet, but I think there are obviously two possibilities here for who or what Snoke is. First, and maybe the least likely, is that Tashu, who was the one pushed into the pit wearing all the Sith artifacts, somehow survived this and was transformed, maybe into a combination of himself and whatever Sith the mask and other artifacts belong to. This would help explain how he had seen the rise and fall of the Empire, which Snoke says he did in the novelization of The Force Awakens, because whoever this ancient Sith is had still some of Yub Tashu's memories. Another, albeit unlikely possibility, is that somehow when Yub Tashu, with all of these artifacts, was somehow able to contact Palpatine when he came into contact with this powerful life force at the center of Jakku, and emerged from the pit as, well, Palpatine. And a lot of people right now like the theory that Snoke is Palpatine. Both of these theories would help explain why Snoke looks so messed up in The Force Awakens, because he'd been through some crazy stuff. Now, the more likely theory here is that Snoke will simply be found by Sloane and the other Imperials who have ventured deep into the unknown regions, and that he will become the supreme leader of the new empire they're building, which is obviously the First Order. That would mean that he is essentially whatever has been calling out to Palpatine and apparently other Sith before him. This, again, is more possible because Pablo Hidalgo said that there are no Sith in The Force Awakens, which would make Snoke something far beyond that, and likely far more powerful than any ordinary Sith. Well, that's all I got for you this time. I do plan on doing more videos going into what we learned in Aftermath Empire's End, and delving more into the theories that have spawned from it, especially after more people have had a chance to finish reading the book. There was a lot of information revealed, and not all of it was major, but some of it was cool little things or added to the story overall. So please subscribe to my channel for more videos about Aftermath and all things Star Wars to come. If you're already a subscriber, then thanks for your continued support. If you want to know when I upload new videos, then hit the notification button or follow me on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching.